Angles at center and semicircles. First of all, what is circle? A circle is a two-dimensional geometric shape that consists of all the points in a plane that are a fixed distance, called the radius, from a given point, called the center. The main parts of a circle are: center, the point that is equidistant from all points on the circle; radius, the distance from the center of the circle to any point on the circle. All radii of the circle are equal. Diameter, the distance across the circle passing through the center. The diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. Chord, a line segment that connects 2 points on the circle. A diameter is the longest chord in a circle. Tangent, a line that touches the circle at only one point, called the point of tangency. Secant, a line that intersects the circle at two distinct points. Arc, a portion of the circumference of the circle is known as arc. It can be measured in degrees or radians. Sector, a region of the circle that is bounded by two radii and an arc. The measure of a sector is the central angle that subtends it, measured in degrees or radians. Segment, a region of the circle that is bounded by a chord and an arc. Understanding the parts of a circle is important in geometry and other mathematical disciplines, as well as in engineering, physics, and other fields that involve circular objects and shapes. A circle is drawn here, and this is an arc, this is a tangent, it's the radius, and this whole portion is a segment of a circle. This whole portion is a sector of the circle. This point is a center of the circle. This is a secant which intersects the circle at 2 points, and this is the chord which touches the circle at 2 points. I hope all of these are clear to you. Angle at center. An angle at the center of a circle is an angle whose vertex is located at the center of the circle and whose sides intersect the circumference of the circle. As shown in the diagram, the angle at center is 2x degrees and PQ is an arc. The measure of an angle at the center of a circle is equal to twice the measure of the corresponding angle at the circumference that intersects the same arc. As this angle is 2x degrees, then angle at circumference of the circle is x degree. In other words, if two angles are formed by two intersecting chords or tangents of a circle at the same endpoint of an arc, the angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference. The triangle parts can also overlap in this theorem, as this. Again, PQ is an arc, it's an angle at center, and its angle at circumference of the circle by the same arc PQ. So this angle is x, and at center it will be twice, so 2x degrees. This property is important in solving problems involving arcs, chords, tangents, and angles in circles. It is commonly used in calculations involving the length of arcs, the area of sectors, and the angles formed by intersecting chords or tangents. Angle in a semicircle. In a semicircle, an angle formed by any 2 points on the circumference and the center of the circle will always measure 90 degrees or pi by 2 radians. This can be proved using the fact that a line drawn from the center of a circle to a point on its circumference is always perpendicular to the tangent of the circle at that point, as this. This is a tangent to the circle and it's a radius of the circle. This angle is 90 degree. Since a semicircle is just half of a circle, the angle formed by any 2 points on the circumference of a circle and the center of the circle will be half of the angle formed by the same 2 points and the center of the corresponding full circle, which is always 180 degrees or pi radians, as this. Here we have right angle which is of 90 degrees, and at this point this angle will be 180 degrees because this angle is twice the angle at circumference of the circle. Therefore, the angle in a semicircle will always measure 90 degrees or pi by 2 radians. Examination tips. Add anything you can to a diagram you have been given. Mark any equal radii and write in any angles and lengths you can work out, even if they don't seem relevant to the actual question. Chord. A chord is a straight line that connects 2 points on the circumference of a circle. The 2 points are called the end points of the chord. A chord is different from a diameter, which is also a line that connects 2 points on the circumference of a circle but passes through the center of the circle. For chord, it's not necessary that it should pass from the center, but the diameter will always passing through the center. A chord may or may not pass through the center of the circle. The length of a chord can be calculated using the distance formula or by applying the Pythagoras theorem. If the length of the chord is known, the distance between the chord and the center of the circle can be calculated using the formula for the distance from a point to a line. Chords have several important properties that are used in geometry and trigonometry, including the chord-chord product theorem, which relates the lengths of two chords that intersect inside a circle, and the inscribed angle theorem, which relates the angle subtended by a chord and an arc of a circle. Perpendicular bisector of a chord. The perpendicular bisector of a chord is a line that intersects the chord at a right angle and also passes through the center of the circle that contains the chord, as this. This line is a chord and this is a line from center to chord. This is a perpendicular bisector of a chord from center of the circle. The perpendicular bisector divides the chord into two equal parts and is equidistant from the endpoints of the chord. The perpendicular bisector of a chord can be used to find the center of a circle that contains the chord. To do this, you can draw the perpendicular bisector of the chord and locate the midpoint of the bisector. This midpoint will be the center of this circle. Conversely, if you know the center of a circle and the endpoints of a chord, you can construct the perpendicular bisector of the chord by drawing a line that passes through the center of the circle and the midpoint of the chord. Here we know the center of the circle and endpoints of the chord. Then we can draw a perpendicular bisector of a chord. The perpendicular bisector of a chord has several important applications in geometry, such as finding the radius of a circle, constructing regular polygons inscribed in a circle, and determining the position of a point relative to a circle. It is a fundamental concept in the study of circles and their properties. Next is tangent. A tangent is a straight line that touches a curve at a single point without crossing through the curve at that point. The point where the tangent touches the curve is called the point of tangency. Tangents are commonly used in the study of circles. If a line is tangent to a circle, it intersects the circle at only one point and is perpendicular to the radius that intersects that point. This means that the tangent line is at a right angle to the radius at the point of tangency. The slope of a tangent line can be used to calculate the derivative of a function in calculus. The derivative represents the rate of change of the function at a particular point and is defined as the limit of the slope of a secant line that passes through 2 points on the curve as the points get closer and closer together. Tangents have many practical applications in fields such as engineering, physics, and computer graphics. For example, the tangent to a curve can be used to calculate the velocity of a moving object at a particular point in time, or to determine the path of a light ray through a curved surface. Tangent is perpendicular to radius. A key property of tangents and radii is that the tangent line to a circle at a given point is always perpendicular to the radius that connects that point to the center of the circle. This means that if you draw a line from the center of the circle to the point of tangency, it will be perpendicular to the tangent line at that point. The relationship between the radius and tangents of a circle has many practical applications in fields such as trigonometry, geometry, and physics. For example, in optics, the tangent of the angle between a ray of light and the normal to a curved surface is used to calculate the angle of refraction, which determines the direction in which the light will bend as it passes through the surface. This line is a tangent to the circle and this is a radius of the circle, and they both are perpendicular to each other. And here we have two tangents at 2 points of the circle, and these two are radii of the circle, and this radius is perpendicular to this tangent and this radius is perpendicular to this tangent. And these two tangents are equal in length. Cyclic quadrilateral. A cyclic quadrilateral is a quadrilateral, a four-sided polygon whose vertices all lie on a single circle. In other words, if you draw the circle that passes through all four vertices of the quadrilateral is said to be cyclic. One of the interesting properties of a cyclic quadrilateral is that the opposite angles are supplementary, meaning that the sum of two opposite angles is equal to 180 degrees. This is known as the opposite angles are interior angles theorem for cyclic quadrilaterals. Another property of cyclic quadrilaterals is that the measures of the two pairs of opposite angles add up to 360 degrees. This means that if you know the measure of three of the angles of a cyclic quadrilateral, you can find the measure of the fourth angle using this property. Cyclic quadrilaterals have many applications in geometry and trigonometry, and they are often used in problem solving and proofs. For example, the cyclic quadrilateral property can be used to solve problems involving inscribed angles, tangents, and secants in circles. It's a circle which has a quadrilateral A, B, C, D, and its center is O. This quadrilateral is known as cyclic quadrilateral. The theorem only applies to cyclic quadrilaterals. Do not be fooled by other quadrilaterals in a circle. The diagram below depicts a common scenario that is not a cyclic quadrilateral. This one. This ABCO is not a cyclic quadrilateral as its fourth vertex is not touching the circumference of the circle. So it's not a cyclic quadrilateral. Angle at circumference subtended by the same arc. When two or more angles are formed by connecting 2 points on the circumference of a circle with a third point inside the circle, and they all subtended the same arc, then they are equal in measures. This is known as the angle at circumference subtended by the same arc theorem, or simply the inscribed angle theorem. To state it more formally, the inscribed angle theorem says that in a circle, if two chords are lines that connects 2 points on the circumference, intersect at a point within the circle, then the angles between the chords at the point of intersection are equal if and only if the chords subtend equal arcs on the circumference. This theorem is often used to solve problems involving circles, such as finding the measure of an angle or the length of a chord. As this. Alternate segment theorem. The alternate segment theorem is a theorem in geometry that relates the angles formed by a chord and a tangent line to a circle. The theorem states that the angle between a tangent and a chord through the point of contact is equal to the angle subtended by the chord in the opposite segment. In other words, if a tangent line is drawn to a circle from a point on the circumference and a chord is drawn from that same point to another point on the circle, then the angle between the tangent and the chord at the point of contact is equal to the angle formed by the chord in the opposite segment of the circle. This theorem is often used to solve problems involving tangents and chords in circles, such as finding the measures of an angle or the length of a chord. It's an alternate segment theorem. This angle is equal to this and this angle is equal to this. Examination tips. If you observe a tangent on a circle diagram, check to see if it meets a radius and immediately add the proper angle to the diagram. In some circumstances, simply performing this can get you a point. Test yourself. Question number 1. In the diagram, A, B, C and D lie on a circle center O. EA is a tangent to the circle at A. Angle EAB is 61 degrees and angle BAC is 55 degrees. The diagram is given which is not to scale. Find angle BAO. It's a 1 mark question. Angle BAO is this one. Find angle AOC. It's a 1 mark question. And angle AOC is angle at center of the circle. Find angle ABC. It's a 1 mark question. ABC is angle at circumference of the circle. Question number 2. The points A, B, C, D and E lie on the circle. PAQ is a tangent to the circle at A and EC equals EB. Angle ECB is 80 degrees and angle ABE is 40 degrees. The diagram is given which is not to scale. Find the values of V, W, X, Y and Z. It's a 5 mark question. V, Y, X, Z and W. These 5 angles you have to calculate. Question number 3. In the diagram, K, L and M lie on the circle, center is O. Angle KML is 2x degrees and reflex angle KOL is 11x degrees. Find the value of X. KML is given, reflex angle KOL is given. Diagram is not to scale. It's a 3 mark question. You have to find the value of X. Next is question number 4. A, B, C and D are points on the circle, center is O. ABD is 21 degrees and CD is 12 centimeter. Calculate the area of this circle. ABD is given and the length of CD is 12 centimeter. Diagram is not to scale. You have to calculate area of this circle. And it's a 5 mark question. Question number 5. A, B, C and D are points on the circumference of a circle. Center is O. FDE is a tangent to the circle. Show that y minus x equals 90 degrees. You must give a reason for each stage of your working. The diagram is drawn which is not to scale. It's a 2 mark question. Dylan was asked to give some possible values for x and y. He said y could be 200 and x could be 110 because 200 minus 110 is equal to 90. Is Dylan correct? You must give a reason for your answer. It's a 1 mark question.